Heya, I'm Alina the Linus. As you can see, I'm wearing the Zero suit, so I might be a bit of a Metroid fan. Since I was a child, I grew up on Metroid. I grew up going to my grandparents and playing my uncle's old NES. One of those first games I ever played? Metroid. I loved this game and was also extremely frustrated. Anyways, I never completed it until, well, this year, when I started my chronological playthrough of all the Metroid games. I really wanted to share my thoughts on other games in this series, so I went, without further ado, cue the music. We're talking about Metroid Prime 2. I'll start off with saying I prefer my 2D side-scrolling Metroid games. Super Metroid is probably my favorite game, followed closely by Fusion. That said, I really enjoyed Metroid Prime. It was great seeing the varied environments, the game in 3D, and, most importantly, the iconic music. Seriously, Chozo Ruin slaps! Magmore Caverns? Ugh! That's what I'm talking about. Big fan of the upgrades. I love suit upgrades, multiple beams, good progression. But Metroid Prime 2? It's the edgy mid-2000s sequel in Metroid form. Seriously, why does Nintendo reuse Dark insert protagonist here in every single game? Dark Samus, Dark Link, Dark Pit, Dark Mario, Dark Luigi, Dark Waluigi? Wait, what? Anyways, I actually like the concept of Metroid Prime, and I appreciate Dark Samus being a recurring character throughout the 3 games. However, she really poses zero threat in this game and continually gets her ass handed to her. However, she has an extremely similar role to the SAX from Metroid Fusion, which according to my records came out, hold on, 1 second, November 17th, 2002? Wait, when did Metroid Prime get released? Huh? To compare, the SAX you can never actually fight till the end. The SAX is scary. Anyways, we'll get more into that when I talk about Metroid Fusion. I would have loved for Dark Samus to appear more threatening. I do appreciate her insane laugh, but she's more like the annoying side villain that gets her ass handed to her constantly. Yeah, I'm talking about you, LaFou. Samus does look pretty badass though. I mean, I take her out to a mid-2000s scene concert. Now, let's talk about the environment. Going back to edgy mid-2000s sequel, this game really could use a splash of color. The first 2 zones, Aegon Waste and Temple Grounds, both blend together. I was very excited to leave the first zone, only to be disappointed when we entered Aegon Waste and saw, well, more browns. Are we in Aegon Waste? We're in the Temple Grounds. Oh god. This struggle of... Okay. Transport to Aegon Waste. This is my confusion with the game, is Aegon Waste and the Temple Grounds look pretty identical, I will say. And unfortunately, this issue is magnified when you go into Dark Aether. Same zone, just dark and spooky. Plus, before you get the dark suit, you take damage from being in there, so it really penalizes you from exploring. The game does get better with Torvus Bog, which has some blues and greens, but the colors are still muted. Metroid Prime's first area has the same swamp vibe, but so much more colorful. Luckily, we get a much more unique area with Sanctuary Fortress. Upon entering Sanctuary Fortress, I was very excited. It was so built up seeing all the technological wonders that we read about in the lore of the game. It was finally here! I love seeing the bugs on the wall in the entrance, only to realize they were cybernetic, really highlighting the Luminoth's tech. This area is also when the game began to open up. There were more puzzles, spider ball tracks, and you were rewarded for backtracking. The Dark Aether version of the temple was also interesting. It felt threatening and was cool to see how the Luminoth technology was taken over, leading to the big reveal that was hinted at in the environment. Quadraxis. This zone is peak Metroid, showing what had been alluded to in the lore skins, and had some nice environmental storytelling in the legs of a certain big boy boss in Dark Aether. My enjoyment of the item progression in this game was mixed. Unlocking the dark suit was really awesome, and it was nice to be able to breathe in the dark aether a bit. However, this really trivialized the dark aether traversal. One of the most exciting things in Metroid games is getting each suit upgrade and seeing how your suit changes. This game really only has 2 new suits, with the light suit coming right before the very end. The middle part of this game really struggled with the fun upgrades I think of. We get the dark beam, and the light beam, and eventually the annihilator beam, but really, you're using the light beam for most of the dark things. I'd like to see more variety in the beam uses, and it felt like the annihilator beam came way too late. I loved the seeker missiles, however. Those were standout and felt great to use when you could use them. I really think the game could have used another suit upgrade between the 2 suits. I was very excited to enter the Torvus Bog underwater portion, as normally that means we'll see the gravity suit. So when I was excited to get the gravity suit, well, it was the gravity boost, which only serves to get you out of the zone and has no use in any other zone. Yeah, I'm not a fan. But when you get the light suit, mwah, it's so beautiful. Just look at this. I just wish we could have seen it earlier, as it's gone by the time the game's over. The enemies of this game are, as a concept, the Ing sound pretty cool. Possessing dead matter, utilizing and swarming you. Wait, that sounds like another enemy. Oh right, the X from Metroid Fusion. Overall, the Ing were just gooey tentacle boys that failed to wow me. What did blow me away was the introduction to the game. Seeing the little bugs before they've infested, taking the dead Federation Marines and stringing them up above you, and then fighting the Ing-possessed soldiers? Horrifying! I was ready for a horror Metroid game. I really wish we continued more with that theme. I'd also like to call out Sanctuary Fortress. While being a great looking zone, the enemies here are so annoying. Seriously, why are the res bits so annoying? They reboot your whole AI while also having a shield? Gah! Not a fan. Then there's the mini Quadraxes. Quadraxi? Oh, just quads, I guess. I'm not a fan of the Morph Ball in 3D Metroid, and having to use the Boost Ball to hit a quad, well, that's just an exercise in frustration. However, this game does have 2 bosses I'd love to call out. Chikra? I don't know, it's the big bug thing that turns into a beautiful dragonfly. Let's just go with Chikra, seeing it in the larvae stage, only for the massive dragonfly to jump out of the cocoon. That was such an awesome reveal. I was so happy to be able to use the Seeker missiles too. That was a great mechanic. Love that fight. I also really enjoyed Quadraxis. Quadraxis reminds me a bit of Diggernaut, which definitely felt like they were inspired from Quadraxis. He towers over you, is possessed by technology from the Lumineth, and slaps. The fight had a few stages which was great, and using the Morph Ball in a boss fight is always a cool mechanic. Now for the final boss. Well, Emperor Ing was a bit of a letdown to me. It didn't really feel threatening, and it was kind of just another tentacle blob. The first phase was also particularly annoying to hit all the tentacles with the beams. It wasn't challenging, but also didn't feel tactical. The final phase though, oh yeah. Yes, that was scary and fun. I just love the size of Chikra, Quadraxis, and the final stage of Emperor Ing. I just like big bosses that step on things. Steppies. Wait, what? The real final boss fight though, Dark Samus, again, not great. This should have been harder or less repetitive instead of I just stand still and dodge an attack while I wait for Dark Samus to shoot little tiny pellets at me. Yeah, it was okay. I may seem pretty harsh on this game because, well, I am, but I did enjoy it. I felt like it dragged on a bit in the middle part of the game, and while I appreciate the new mechanics, a lot of my favorite parts of Metroid felt less prioritized. I would love to have been able to grab the keys throughout the game instead of just at the end. Similarly, it felt like most of the rocket upgrades, beam upgrades, and health packs were locked until the key hunt. Give us some more puzzles to solve throughout the game. I want to see more colors, more hummable music with melodies, along with a more threatening enemy. To me, a lot of the concepts from the game felt a bit rehashed from Fusion, just this time in black and white. Prime 2 is still a good game overall, but I would put it as my least favorite Metroid game so far. not counting hunters or pinball. Or should we? But we'll see when I finish Prime 3 Corruption. I cannot wait to replay this remastered. The Metroid Prime remaster is beautiful, and hopefully they'd up the saturation and luminance sliders in this game a bit next time around, and make the areas more visually striking. I'll definitely replay it with the remaster, and probably up the difficulty. Metroid Prime 2 from the Prime trilogy seemed pretty nerfed in difficulty, so I'd recommend hard mode to start. We'll see if the remaster would change where I'd place this game in my internal rankings. So, what are your thoughts on Metroid Prime 2? Am I being totally off base? How excited are you to see a remaster? When was the last time you played it? Let me know in the comments, and feel free to check out my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/AlenaTheLinus. Now, thank you, and I'm out!